Jeff Cowan here from Jeff Cowan's Pro Talk. Welcome back to my podcast entitled Right Service, Write Your Own Paycheck, The Path to Making Over $100,000 a Year when writing service in the automotive industry. Because as I'm recording this right now, 20% of you watching this are making $100,000 a year or more writing service, which means 80% of you are not. So how do the 80%, how do you get to that $100,000 a year? Well, you keep listening to me because I'm going to put you on the path, and especially with this week's meeting. Now, remember last week we got this little series started. It looks like it's going to be a two-part series. So part one was last week, part two is here, where I'm going to show you, we talked about showing you how to have your best year ever. How to make 2019 the absolute best year you've ever had. We're going to eliminate this heat for you. We're going to eliminate the missed sales. We're going to show you how to be the most profitable, successful service advisor you've ever been. Now, you're going to wonder, how can he do this in 15 minutes? Well, here's how. Many times people take what we're talking about here, how to have their best year, and they overthink it. It's really fairly easy to do because the job at hand here is fairly simple to do if you really think about it. Don't mean to insult anybody, but you'll see what I'm talking about as we get into this. So, how do you have your best year ever? How do we make 2019 the best year you've ever had in sales and the like on service drives in the automotive industry? Well, there's basically four things you want to do. Here's number one. First, we have to discuss, where are you now? Okay, where are you now? Where are we going from? Okay, where are you now? And there's basically four areas we need to talk about here. So number one, or A, where are you now? A number of customers a day. Now this is important that you know the number of customers that you're working with every day, because you can adjust that up or down to help you in your sales. B, where are you in your customer labor sales? Now what I mean with the customer labor sales, what I mean is two things. Where's your hours per repair order, including oil changes, because oil changes are an opportunity. Where are your hours per repair order, including oil changes, and where are your total dollar sales in customer pay? C, what's your effective labor rate? I mean, what percentage of it is it of the door rate? And if you're looking for a number that you should measure yourself against, you should be at least at 90% of your door rate. If you're really sharp, 95 to 100%. Yes, I said 100%. I know a lot of people doing that. And then finally, your total sales, including everything from customer pay to warranty to internal to anything else that might be included in that number. So where are you now in each of those areas? All right? And when you're adding this up, what I'm looking for here is your average over the last 12 months. I don't want you to just take a look at December or the last quarter or the last half of the year, the last 12 months. Where are you in those areas? Number two, this is the big question. Where do you want to go? All right, where do you want to go? Where do you want to be in these areas? Now, here's a big piece of advice. This is where I want you to really stretch. This is where I want you to really push. This is where I really want you to challenge yourself. Okay, and here's why. Too many times I see people cut themselves short because they make their goals too small. For example, I see this all the time. I was just in a dealership in a service department here not too long ago, doing a workshop, and there's a sheet that people fill out. And I said, where do you want to go? And the average came back, people wanted to increase 2/10. I'm at 1.5, I want to go to 1.7. So over the next year, you want to go 2/10? Come on. Here's what I mean. Now remember, when it comes to hours per repair order, I've yet to step on a service drive anywhere in the United States of America and or Canada where I have felt 2.5, including oil changes, 2.5 in customer paid hours per repair order is not a real number that's attainable for everybody. Slice it any way you want. Got a service drive, don't have a service drive, new shop, old shop, number of people, doesn't make any difference. 2.5 is a real number. So if you're not at 2.5, my goal this year would be to at least be at 2.5. Even if you're sitting there at 1.0, even if you're sitting there at 1.3, which is the national average, even if you're sitting there at 2.0, I would make my goal at least 2.5. Now, if you're at 2.5, then we can talk about going up from there. And how far you would go up and how you'd set that goal would be dependent on the brand of cars that you're working at. But most of you watching this, 2.5. I mean, really stretch yourself, push yourself. Now, the problem I have with this is so many times people say, oh, come on, Jeff, to develop a good service advisor, it takes years. Managers tell their new service advisors, it takes years. And here's what I'm going to tell you, no, it doesn't. All right? No, it doesn't. In the auto industry, I don't know why we do this, but we try to complicate things. We try to overthink it, and there's nothing to overthink here. Now, I don't mean to be condescending to anybody, But I was in a workshop here recently, and one of the guys come up and he says, I love it when you talk about the opportunity that people have. I like it when you talk about the numbers. And here's in regard to what he was talking about. Because here's the thing. If you take a look at the job, if you take a look at what the job of writing service is, it's all based. As a matter of fact, if you're a manager, your entire department is based on this one cell. If you're a business owner in the service industry, your entire operation is based on one cell, and that is the cell of the oil change. Now, it's real simple. Everything above an oil change is an upsell. And you can either get it or you can't. If you can, then great. You're probably going to do well. You have nothing to worry about. But if you can't, now we need to get you trained. And then once we get you trained on how to get the upsell off the oil change, it's no longer can you or can't you, it's will you or won't you. If you will, then great, you're probably going to have a great career. If you won't, then it's time to move you out and put somebody in the chair who will. Now again, so within 90 days, any of these numbers that I'm talking about here, you should be able to hit. Now again, I get pushback. Oh, come on, Jeff, that doesn't seem like it's much time. It didn't seem like it's much time. It is enough time. I tell new service advisors all the time, number one question I get, how soon should I expect to be among the best? How soon should I set myself up to hit minimum standards and the like? And here's what I tell them. If you're not hitting your shop's minimum standards, at least the minimum standards they've set for you, within 90 days, 45 to 90 days, you're doing something wrong. I tell managers, when you hire a brand new service advisor, if they're not hitting your minimum standards within 90 days, chances are they never will. Now let's think about this. How can I be so harsh? How can I be so mean? 90 days, really? Yeah, think about it. The basis of the whole department, the whole business, is an oil change. Like I said a second ago, you can either get it or you can't. Think about it. On a daily basis, you have 15 tries. If you're writing 15 customers a day, and if you're writing 15 customers a day, that's 75 a week. If you're writing 75 a week over the period of a month, that's 300 customers in a month. And in 90 days, you will have been in front of 900 different people. And let me share you my opinion. If you can't figure out how to write service and get these numbers within 90 days after 900 attempts, hopefully they have an opening for a parts truck driver in your service department. That's why I get off on that, okay? So really push yourself. Really push yourself when it comes to these areas. It's a simple retail transaction. And here's what's even crazier about it. The cells you're dealing with are typically the same cell over and over and over. So we got number 1 and number 2 there. Let's go to number 3. Okay, this one's the tough one. And number 3 is the question. What is holding you back from getting these numbers? Because chances are this isn't the first time you've talked about these numbers. So what is it that's holding you back? And when you're looking at this, you need to take a look at it, when you answer that question, is the answer you gave an excuse or a reason? Okay, because it's an excuse, it's something you can solve as an individual. If it's a reason, then you'd have to go to your boss and talk about it. So what I mean? Well, let's say you think you're writing up too many customers, because a lot of shops we go into, they've got their service advisors writing up 20, 25 customers. That's too many. You'll never hit numbers consistently at 2.5 with 25 customers a day. You'll never see your customer retention rise above 50% consistently if you're writing 25 customers a day. You'll never have decent survey scores to brag about if you're writing 25 customers. Why? You simply just don't have the time to spend with each customer to make those things happen. You're basically selling and making your income off of volume. Now, if you're going to continue to have your writers do that, then get off their backs because they're never going to get the number. But if you really care and you want a quality write-up because you want your customers to have a world-class experience that they can brag to their friends about, the magic number is 15. Now, advisors, you may or may not have control over that. If you don't, that would be a reason you'd go to your manager. You say, maybe another excuse I hear all the time is, Jeff, I don't have time to train myself. I don't have time to train myself. I know training's the answers, but I don't have time. Baloney. A couple months back, we did a whole podcast on finding time to train, and I showed you that the average person has 2.5 hours, if they really wanted to, 2.5 hours every day that you could make to train. And we're not even looking for 2.5 hours. We're typically looking for somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes of daily training. Okay, that's all we're talking about here. Training that's going to help you be the best you can be. Training that's going to allow you to be the best in your business. Training that's going to allow you to pay your bills, feed your kids, and live the life you so deserve. So that would be an excuse. That would be up to you to change that. Another thing we heard here is the things like the shop can't get the work done. Now, that might be both. It could be a reason you have to sit down and talk to your boss about, but it could also be an excuse. Because so many times I'll look at people and say, boy, that was a great customer that was standing there. They seem to be happy with you. You seem to have rapport. high mileage and you had all this opportunity, but you didn't, well, Jeff, I couldn't get it through the shop, and I just knew they wouldn't keep their car. Oh, they wouldn't let me keep their car overnight. How do you know? I mean, there are literally, I can get people on the phone right now, there are literally people I know writing service that when their customers come in for something as simple as an oil change, that customer knows that car is going to sit for a week to 2 weeks before anybody touches it because those shops are that busy. We've got to sell here that people have to buy. They have to buy these products to keep their car running. A car running that allows them to get back and forth to work. A car running that allows them to get back and forth to the doctor, back and forth to the grocery store, get their kids back and forth to school. This is one of the most important things a person owns is their vehicle. So I mean, looking at somebody and explaining to them and setting them up the right way, which we will show you how to do in our training. We show people how to do it all the time. As a matter of fact, it's one of the best parts about our training is what people tell me. Jeff, I used to get all this heat because I didn't know how to set up my customers, but by using the word tracks you've taught me, I can get these customers set up, and I'm stunned at the number of people who will easily leave their cars and willingly leave their cars for an extra day, 2 days, 3 days, or a week to get the work done. So again, that could be an excuse. It could be a reason you would have to decide. And I'm just giving you a sample of what an excuse or a reason would be. There could be 100 things that's holding you back from hitting your goals, but number 3, it's extremely important you uncover and be honest with yourself what's keeping you from hitting your goals. Number 4, how to get to where you want to be. Now, this is going to be really easy. So now we've talked about where you are. We talked about where you want to go, and I encourage you to stretch. And then we talked about what's keeping you and what's kept you in the past from hitting those goals, because this probably isn't the first time you talked about it, so how do you really make it happen? The absolute best way I've seen is with a daily workshop, and we've talked a daily worksheet that you use. Now we're talking about something here, the first week or two you do as an advisor, as an individual, it's going to take you 10 to 15 minutes. Managers, if you're doing this with your people, it's going to take you 10 to 15 minutes per advisor to do this. But after a week or two and everybody gets used to the system, we're talking about something that's going to take 2 to 3 minutes to do. And I call it a daily worksheet. Here's how it works. What you're going to do is you're going to take a look at what you have coming in tomorrow. What are the customers who are the customers you have coming in? What's the mileage? What's the age of the car? What is it that could and should be done on that vehicle? Now, why is this an important thing to do? Because so many times I'll walk into a service center and I'll look at an advisor and I'll say, what kind of day you got? Oh, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. Well, why is it going to suck? Well, I've got 15 customers coming in, but 12 of them are oil changes. 12 are, well, are all 12 oil changes on brand new vehicles that only have 3,000 to 5,000 miles? Or because most of the time what I find is well over 60% of the cars that come into any service drive, well over 60% of them, no matter what they're coming in for, have more than 60,000 miles on them. So is it really just an oil change, or is it a high mileage, older car that needs more work done? Because here's what you're going to do with this daily sheet. You're going to sit down and you're going to take a look at how many customers you have coming in. You're going to take a look at and you're going to predict what your hours per repair order should be based on the cars coming in, their mileage, and their age. Is it really going to be a 2.0 day, or is there a chance is this ticket a 2.0 ticket, 2-hour ticket? Is it a 3-hour ticket? Is it a 5-hour ticket? You're going to take all the tickets you have coming in, and you're going to average that out. It doesn't have to be an exact science, so you're going to average that out. So now tomorrow we know we've got, hey, an opportunity to sell 2.8. We've got an opportunity to sell 3.0. We've got an opportunity to sell whatever. You're going to predict your effective labor rate, and you're going to predict your average, your total sales for the day. Now, once you do that, all right, and here's the benefits of doing that, by the way, it gives you 24 hours to think about, not 24 hours, I'm sorry. It gives you 12 hours, because you do that today at 6 o'clock, you come back in tomorrow at 7 to start the day, 12 to 13 hours to think about and prepare in your mind for what you have coming. It gives you time to plan. It gets rid of the excuses. Because the next day, what you're going to do at the end of the day, as you prepare for the next day, you're going to take what you should have done today and compare it to what you thought you were going to do yesterday. You follow me here? So yesterday I wrote down, I thought I was going to write an example, 3 hours. But I sit down today and I look at it at the end of the day and I say, you know what? I hit it. I'm at 3.0. Or I exceeded it. I'm at 3.5. Or, I missed it by a half hour. I missed it by an hour. Now, what you're going to find when you start doing this is what's really holding you back. And what's going to happen here is your eyes are going to open to the opportunity that you literally have every single day. And so what's going to happen, and it's going to allow you to do, is identify your weaknesses. You might find that your weakness is dealing with men. Your weakness may be dealing with women. Your weakness may be dealing with couples. Your weakness may be dealing with people who drive trucks or high miles or low miles or cars or whatever. And you're going to train yourself to those weaknesses. Okay, so this is how you're going to get to where you need to be, because once you find out what your weaknesses are and you make them strengths, hitting these numbers are going to be easy, and you should be able to do. You should be posting the numbers, and you should be able to hit the numbers that you're asking for here within 90 days. So by the time we get to March, these numbers should be a reality, and you're never going to look back. Now, even though you set your goal at 2.5, let's just stay for that for a second, chances are you're going to hit above that. And at the end of the year, you're going to find that you're going to hit all these numbers just the way you predicted that you would. Okay, so again, where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's holding you back? And you're going to do this daily worksheet, so every single day you know where you are, what you're driving toward, and whether or not you're hitting your goals. This is how you're going to have your best year ever. And if you want more details on this, call me anytime at 1-800-248-2931, 1-800-248-2931. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. I'm also more than happy to jump on the phone with you and your shop and do a free webinar. Yes, I said a free webinar. I'll do a 30-minute webinar for anybody that calls in and wants to do one if you've got enough people sitting in the room. Just some other news things here before I let you go. I've got a new product coming out on how to close sales on service drives. It's a book and it's a program. It's going to be out in about 3 weeks. You're going to love this. It's going to be fun. But in the meantime, here's what I want you to do, because there's going to be a major holiday happen between now and next week when I see you again. It's God's birthday next Tuesday. So here's what I want you to do between now and then and now next week. I want you to go and call somebody you've not talked to in a long time. I want you to visit old family members you've not seen in a while. And I want you to just enjoy this most important of all holidays. I really want you to get into the spirit of it, and I also want you to go out and find as many customers as you can and get them excited about your product and get them to buy your product, and do it in such a way they want to come back and do more business and give you perfect survey scores so you can make the income that you want to make and need to make, so you can have the lifestyle that you deserve. Because between now and next week, I'm going to enjoy this holiday. I'm going to enjoy my friends and family. I'm going to renew some old relationships and strengthen some of the ones I have, and I'm going to find some customers, and I'm going to get them excited about my product and get them to say yes, so I can continue to live the lifestyle that I so enjoy. God bless you all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Take care.